The Seahawks with a bad loss to the Packers on Sunday Night Football. And what was a very embarrassing loss in many ways. Bad play, a lot of Packer fans, and just Josh Jacobs running all over the Seahawks, Jordan Love passing all over the Seahawks. A rough game, George, compared to what we thought might happen.
Yeah, and I hope everyone who was screaming that Sam Howell is the future quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks is now at the point where they realize that Sam Howell is not a starting quarterback in the National Football League. I said it when we traded for him. I'm saying it again now. So I hope everyone's realization now is this guy is not good. There's a reason Washington moved off of him very quickly, and there's a reason. I mean, he's great if you're trying to tank. Like, if you want to go get a first pick of a draft, maybe start him next year and like do what the Commanders did and try to go get a top 3 pick and get another quarterback. But that's what he's good for tanking.
You're listening to the Sports on Tap Seattle podcast. I'm Sammy, and with me, as always, is my older brother, George.
Your favorite place to be a fan of Seattle sports. Now let's get this party started.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I would say he's ass right now. He's not very good right now, but we've seen too many quarterbacks recently, the Sam Darnolds, the Geno Smiths, the Baker Mayfields of the world be thrown away. But right now, he's not the guy at all. He's bad.
Yeah.
Sure, he has a chance to develop one day. But to your point, he's not the guy for the Seahawks. And there was a lot of people that wanted him to be the guy over Geno Smith in a season like this season. And that's definitely, to everything you said, is definitely correct. Where if that's what you're saying, then yes, he is a guy for tanking. There's a reason Washington let him go. Who knows what he could be in the future? We've seen Geno Smith. When Geno Smith was a backup for the Seahawks, he was also a throwaway guy that was a backup for many years. But at the end of the day, in football and especially, these type of situations like a backup quarterback, it's, we're looking at this year. And this year, there's a reason they started Geno Smith over Sam Howell. And they saw it in camp.
Well, you said 3 things there he could develop. He will not develop. He's not going to develop. The 3 guys you gave examples for, Geno Smith, go look at his stats at Western Virginia. He almost won the Heisman Trophy. Go
Western
look at
Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia. I like saying Western Virginia. Go look at Sam Darnold. He was an absolute beast and a number 2 overall pick. And Baker Mayfield won a Heisman Trophy and was the number 1 overall pick. Sam Howell is not a starting quarterback and never will be. And there is no shame in that, by the way. I actually think he's a high-end backup. There's not that many good backups in the NFL. You could do a lot worse than Sam Howell as your backup quarterback.
You could also could have kept Drew Lock. Probably was probably more comfortable with Drew Lock. And I know Drew Lock was bad with the Giants, but that's a Giants problem, I think, more than anything. I mean, Drew Lock, we saw him come in and at least win a game against the Eagles last year. Sam Howell's a decent backup to have, like you said.
Decent backup.
I think we could have had a better situation.
Yeah, so. What's interesting is, and I heard this somewhere, is go look at all sports, right? Like, let's start off with basketball. Everyone now can shoot threes, and everyone has developed into 3-point shooters, and even big men have gotten to the point where they can knock down threes. Go look at baseball. It's gotten better throughout the years, right? Pitchers now throw 100 miles per hour. When we were younger, 100 miles per hour was like, oh my God, that guy's a flamethrower. And then look at the quarterback position. Like, it is still what it was 10 years ago. There was 7, 8, 9, 10 elite quarterbacks or good quarterbacks in the NFL. Now still 7, 8, 9, 10 good quarterbacks in the NFL. The quarterback position is like the only position is so hard to get right. It hasn't really evolved into like, wow, you can just bring in anyone and there's so many good quarterbacks. It's still like so little of good quarterbacks.
I feel like there's more there nowadays, though, like good quarterbacks. Were you talking about elite or good?
Good. No, how many teams do you think are ready to replace a starting quarterback? Maybe half the league is not sure if they have the guy for the future. At least.
I think it's less than that these days. I mean, I can just list off the NFC West right now. Everyone has their quarterback. That's 4.
We're not sure if Kyler Murray is going to be the long-term project in Arizona. We're also not sure if
Kyler Murray was guaranteed to be a starter for the next 8 years in the NFL.
You think, but I'm just saying, who do we? And is he elite? What is he? The 18th best quarterback in the NFL
Kyler Murray. Yes,
right
he's
now?
a very good quarterback in the NFL.
I like Kyler Murray, but I'm just saying, like Arizona. I mean, we see flashes of brilliance, and then we see him kind of go back down to the mean. I'm just saying,
I don't know. They're one game away from the division.
how many teams in the wow, dude, there's teams in the NFL that have division leads that don't know if there's quarterbacks.
Okay, I asked you a question: good or elite?
No,
We're
no,
talking
I'm
elite
saying,
is a different
I'm
story.
saying how many teams have their quarterback that say for sure this is our future quarterback for the next 4 to 6 seasons.
4 to 6 is a really big number. There's probably like 2 teams, dude, 3 teams.
Yeah,
but
that
like
just goes to show. There's, I mean,
yeah, but 4 to 6 is a.
That means there's not 32. There's not 32 people on this planet that are good enough to be quarterbacks.
No, I know. You said there's 5 or 6 good quarterbacks, is what you said. There's Lamar Jackson.
I said 10.
Like, okay, there's a lot more than 10. Is all I'm saying. Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Like there's like CJ Stroud. I mean, there's a good like 15 to 18 teams that like will probably have the same quarterback next year.
Yeah, 15 to 18. Isn't that crazy if you think about it? There's not 32 people on this planet that can play quarterback in the NFL.
No, I agree with that, but I'm just saying you said there was like 6 to 8 good quarterbacks. Yeah, so I think this year
there's only 6 to 8 quarterbacks in the NFL right now that you tell me this quarterback can win a Super Bowl. And that's the ultimate.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a very different question than good quarterbacks. I mean, like there's some good quarterbacks that might not win. I mean, Tony Romo was a good quarterback.
Yeah, he was a good quarterback.
Yeah, so I'm just saying there's probably I think there are more good quarterbacks now than there was in the past. I think there actually used to be like 18 teams that would need a quarterback every year, like and be drafting quarterbacks. Now there's like 18 teams with good enough quarterbacks. I would say good enough. There's like you said, there's 6 to 8 with, 6 to 8 with for sure quarterbacks, and then there's like still another 10 to 12 with.
I mean, we can get semantics on the number, but I guess the point is it's crazy that every single like position in sports has gotten better, except the quarterback position has remained the most difficult position in the whole entire world.
Well, it's to our. I mean, I forgot Jordan Love and Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts. There's a lot of teams that have 5 to 6 year quarterbacks potentially, but to your point, there's a whole half of the league. I would say there's 15 teams right now, including the Seahawks, for example. If you're going to say Kyler Murray, Seahawks are in the same position of Geno Smith. They like him. He's good. What? There's no guarantee he's going to be the quarterback in 2 years, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
But to that point is then you see the other options. Like who are you going to go get? A guy like Sam Howell and then be in an even worse position. And I'm not trying to hate on Sam Howell. Yesterday's, I would say that's a hard position to come into. I'm not going to ignore.
Oh yeah. It's almost an impossible position to put a young quarterback in.
Yeah, he hasn't played a game this year. Played like 2 snaps, down 10 Sunday Night Football against a really good Packers team. A really impossible position. But I think it's very clear that the people that wanted Sam Howell over Geno Smith, like to start the year, it was the wrong answer. Like he's not very good, right? Like even Geno Smith, when he came in for Russell Wilson's injury, you saw flashes like, hey, Geno Smith might be a good quarterback again.
Yeah, he led them on a 97-yard drive against the Rams to win the game.
Yeah, and then played really good against Jacksonville, I think it was. In Pittsburgh it was. They lost in overtime. So, like, he was showing flashes, and that's why the Seahawks moved on to him. But it wasn't just a disaster. Like, last night was a disaster. And a lot about last night was a disaster. The score didn't really explain what was going on as much in terms of the quarterback position, if that's what we were talking about here. Like, Geno was playing pretty decent for a good amount of time, a very good completion percentage. The red zone issues continue. Which is a big problem. We drive down the field. He was at that point, he was like 13 for 14 on the day, playing perfect.
Like some crazy number. He was playing absolutely phenomenal, lights out. And then, God, like, what do we like about Geno?
He just tosses up ridiculous passes and
non-big moments. What do we like about him? We like his confidence, right? But sometimes his confidence is a little too high in his arm. He has a great arm, and he said, I can fit it into that window and that's what makes him so good, but it also can make him have huge mistakes in the red zone.
Yeah, and it's been a really big problem this year. The red zone. I mean, against the Rams, he had a couple of those, but it was worse with Sam Howell. So I hope Geno Smith plays the rest of the year. So it was bad. And last night, let's get to some of the bad things. Right. One, obviously, we were down by a lot, but we had somewhat of a chance. If Geno Smith was in that game, you don't know what happens down 10 with 12 minutes left or 11 minutes left.
Let me tell you what would happen. That 4th down and 5 where we punted the ball.
Probably going for it with Geno.
Probably going for it. Like, I think now I kind of understand the reason. I still don't understand the reason why you punt there.
But the coaching staff was like, Sam Howell's not getting this first down.
Exactly. That was kind of the point. That's what would have happened. At least we would have went for that 4th and 5 with 8 minutes left.
Yeah, because I think the coaching staff saw, man, maybe we just trust our defense more than Sam trying to make once again, I'm not trying to hate on him too much. It was a hard position, but every pass was being tipped, being batted down by defenders. The pick was like into triple coverage right to the corner. It was not good in that situation. So that's the only excuse to the punt, but I was upset about it. I mean, we were both sitting there like, why would you punt right now? Right? Like down 10, 8 minutes
almost a perfect punt that caused a fumble, but still.
Yeah, I know. If we got the ball there, we'd all have to shut up and be like, what a great decision. But it turned out not to be. And then they moved the ball right back down to where they would have got it if we didn't convert the 4th. And we just lost 4 minutes instead.
And they went for it and didn't get it.
Yeah.
And
they got the ball right back where we would have had it with 4 less minutes on the clock.
Yeah. No. I mean, I still question the decision, but like I also understand after watching Sam Howell, they probably just did not trust to get 5 yards there and we're like, let's play some field position.
Yeah. Let's rewind for a second because okay, that's what happened when we were at that point, but the whole first half, Josh Jacobs ran all over our defense. Jordan Love was slinging the ball too perfectly.
Why does Josh Jacobs look like the greatest running back in history of running backs against the Seahawks every single time?
In Seattle, specifically. At Living Field. That one game we had 260 yards or whatever it was with the Raiders, and then this one. I mean, I don't know. He plays good. They mentioned it before the game, and I was like, oh, yeah, damn flashback. Like, he did have that game. He had that 90-something yard like touchdown run in overtime. And he did it again. He was running all over us, and Jordan Love was slinging the ball over us. The defense was not what I expected compared to like what we had been the last couple of weeks. I mean, it was a letdown. They played a lot better in the second half, it feels like. A lot less points, a lot less big plays. There was a couple, but nothing bad. But I mean, the final, we allowed 20 in the first half, and the final score was
kind of blacked out on the final score personally.
30-13. It was so 10 points in the second half is fine to allow.
Yeah.
But that first half of 20-3 was just an embarrassment.
Well, our run defense is still not where it needs to be. And if we're running back like Josh Jacobs, that's going to be a big problem for us for the rest of the season. When we play the Rams with Kyrene Williams, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem against the Vikings as well. They're going to pound the ball against. I mean, there is a blueprint on how to beat this Seahawks team, and it is run the ball, play action pass, and go over the top.
Yeah, I mean, there's also some flaws in the secondary. Tariq Woolen's been playing really bad.
I know.
Since his rookie year, he hasn't been the same. And yesterday, there was a lot of mistakes.
I mean, that pass to Christian Watson down the sideline, it would have been very, 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 very easy to defend it instead of trying to go for a crazy interception and then give up a 35-yard ball.
I mean, and the pass interferences and the tackling, like there was a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't look up his PFF numbers. I want to see how I feel like it was pretty bad.
The pass interference ended up not costing us. I think they would have scored a touchdown because he was in horrible position anyway. So it's probably a good pass interference, but he shouldn't have been in that position anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, he was second to last in PFF grades on defense with a 36.5 grade. Therese Knight was 32.4, also awful.
It's better. It's better than being last.
That's true. Two of the bottom three were Josh Jobe and Tariq Woolen. So we were really struggling in the secondary. And Kobe Bryant was 15th in grading in the 40s. I mean, the secondary was also a big issue yesterday. Everybody, didn't play well. Like Witherspoon played okay, but in general, run defense and the pass defense was just not right. And it's definitely a sign of, we're not there yet. I mean, like that Packers team is a playoff team. That's clearly a playoff team, right? We're that team that is clearly a fringe team. And if we weren't in our division, probably right now we'd be looking at not a very high chance to get in.
Well, the problem here is what happens if us and the Rams are tied at the end of the year because we beat them? I don't know. Do we have the tiebreaker over them at that point?
Like if we beat them last week with the same record, you're saying?
Yeah, if we end up with the same record and we beat them.
I believe it's conference record first.
I think it's division record first if you're in the same division, right? Or no?
Maybe conferences for wild card. Let's see. Playoff division.
It's head to head first, but then we'd be 1-1, and then
division is. I'm looking it up. Head to head. So, and then best 1-loss percentage in games played within the division. Yeah, and then common games. So in the division, they're 3-1 right now, and we're 3-2. We have one division game left against them. They have the Cardinals and us. So if they beat the Cardinals,
and we beat them, we'll have the same division record. And then it goes to
common games, which best 1-loss tied percentage in common games. Wow. So probably like other teams you've played. So let's say like Patriots and Dolphins. They lost to the Dolphins, but beat the Patriots. Bills, we got killed. They beat the Bills. Vikings, they beat them. They lost to the Bears, though. They lost to the Packers. We get like the same exact, probably.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to.
And then conference record. So it might go down to conference record, is what I think it might end up going down to. Which right now, conference record, they're 5-5 and we're 4-5, but we have 2 games left and all 3 games left in the conference. So honestly,
we have to win the table most likely.
Yeah, we're gonna look at we want to be looking at 11-6 now. Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance to make a wild card still. We don't know how the Commanders will finish off the season, and there's a lot of different things to take variables with. But like the problem is, we do play the Vikings, and the Vikings. I mean, look, we can beat anyone on any given Sunday, right? We're good enough to beat them, but they're much better than us right now, and that's scary too.
Yeah. I mean, the Vikings are 11-2. Like that's going to be a tough game.
The Vikings can win the division.
Yeah, I know, and we're not. So I mean, we're not bad. This is it's between us and Washington. But the thing is, Washington's 6-3 in conference, so we're kind of cooked there. Unless they like.
Yeah, we gotta. I think run the table.
Yeah, we gotta most likely run the table. I mean, there's a chance if we lose to the Vikings, but we win in Chicago and LA, we also have a shot. But run the table is most likely. And let's consider the Rams have the Jets and Cardinals before us. And based
Jets
on
are playing pretty good right now.
Played one good game.
2.
Are you sure it's 2, not 1?
Yeah, haven't they won back-to-back weeks now?
No, they lost to the Dolphins.
Oh, they lost to in overtime. Yeah.
They lost to the Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks, Dolphins, and beat the Jags by 7 without Trevor Lawrence.
And win's a win in the National Football League. They're hot right now.
So they are not playing well. So the Rams, based on how they've been playing, should beat the Jets and Cardinals. So we really need to win out. And then hope that somehow the conference or head-to-head records, what is it, common games, ends up working out. I don't know how it works out. I don't even want to try to calculate it right now. But I know that we definitely went from an 80% chance by winning yesterday would put us at an 80% chance to win the division down to like a 40-something.
All right. Well, it's time to take care of business. Any update on Gino's knee? I think they said structurally there's no problems. But
that's what he said last night, but there needs to be imaging. I don't know. We'll get to that at the end here when I do some research. But overall, I want to get back to some of this game because there's a couple of things. One, it's also embarrassing how many Packer fans. There's clearly a lot of season ticket holders that just sell the tickets.
A couple of things about that vote.
I didn't finish my point.
Okay.
Hold on. I mean, I was going to say that they have the right to do so. I can't really, whatever. If it's a good price ticket, it's a good price ticket. Like, do you? But my point more about it was that the home field advantage is it's not even remotely close to what it used to be. And that's been affecting the Seahawks.
Yeah, but I feel like this is the new NFL and new sporting events in general. It just seems like with the secondary market now, doesn't matter where you go. We went to the Seahawks Cardinals game last week, and it was a home game. It felt like for the Seattle Seahawks. It's the new wave. I'm not saying I like it or dislike it, but for all those people who are cursed, I saw a bunch of people saying, and we're syndicated, so I can't say the exact words, but the letter F, if you sold your season tickets. Here's one thing I don't like to tell people. Do what you want with your money. It's your money. If you need the money to sell your season tickets and you're making money on it, I'm not going to go and tell another man what to do with his money.
Yeah, I mean, there's two sides to this. One, I'm sure if the team was 11-2, more of those season ticket holders would just go to the game, or more Seahawks fans. There's another key here is they are also able to go to the secondary market and pay more than the Packer fans.
That's true too. Yeah.
To buy the tickets. I think Seattle's a very big transient city. Like there's a lot of people that have moved there from other cities to work at Microsoft and at Amazon and at all these companies. So yeah, there's probably a lot of people from Wisconsin. They're like, cool. The one time the Packers come every 2 or 3 years, like I'm going to go and I'm going to outbid anybody. But also you got to consider, sure, we had the best home field advantage when we were back-to-back Super Bowl contenders. Kind of makes sense why, right? Because me, Sammy, I would pay $300, $400 to go get good seats if we were 11-2 about to clinch a division and be a Super Bowl contender. If we're 8-8 and the ticket's $250, I'm like, I'll wait for it until we're more contenders.
Right. And it's just, this is going to be the reality, right? And I think in sports in general, more people we're going to see less and less home field advantage in a lot of places, except when, like you said, your team is 11-2 and going for a Super Bowl.
And in other cities that are less, like Kansas City's always going to have good fans. Packers, it's a hard place to get to. Buffalo, those places are going to tend to have their fan base. That's their thing, right? Like that's their city's thing. Like Buffalo and Green Bay, that's their thing.
Right. And
Kansas City, I say that, it's their thing, but they also are like going for a three-peat. So
yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's unfair to tell like season ticket holders. Like I saw someone tweet that they need to dissolve all season ticket holders and restart the process. Like
reevaluate their policies. I just read that.
Yeah, reevaluate their policies. Like what the heck are you talking about? Like,
yeah, I mean, I could be the biggest diehard Seahawks fan and also still sell my ticket.
And you can't control who you sell your tickets to, like StubHub, unless you tell StubHub, Vivid Seats, SeatGeek, that there's a new way that the only way you can buy these tickets is if you present ID and you live in that state. But then there might be people from Wisconsin who moved to Seattle. Like there's no way to police this stuff. Like it's an open market. It's free. And then the same people who are yelling about this might live in Arizona like we do and went to the Cardinals and Seahawks game. Should we not been allowed to buy tickets and go to the Seahawks and Cardinals game in Arizona?
That's true. Everyone loved that it was a home game for the Seahawks in Arizona.
So, like, don't complain about, like, the fans. Complain about – and people complaining are the ones that are not at the game. You really want that? Go pay $550 to go get those seats and go sit there.
Once again,
it's $550.
Yeah. But once again, really expensive. It is not good. I mean,
it's not good. No, I'm saying it's not good. I agree.
Well, my point was not to complain about the people. My thing was just more, it's getting bad. Like, it's more like a blanket statement, not like I'm not giving a reason. It's just getting bad. Go chants, like bigger cheers for Packer touchdowns than a Seahawks touchdown. That's all I'm saying is the home field advantage is pretty much cooked.
It is. It's cooked. Yeah.
I mean, it's not what it was a couple of years ago. It's not there's no like, the spread's a little bit lean towards the Seahawks because it's at home. I don't think that's the case anymore.
No, it's not. I mean, remember when quarterbacks couldn't even get their play calls off, false starts. Now it's just.
Now we lose to the Giants at home all the time.
I think that's a different case. I mean, we were losing to him with home field of Colt McCoy. Like the Giants are a kryptonite at home. That's what we get for winning a Super Bowl at MetLife Stadium. We have to lose to the Giants at home. It's a nice trade off.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it is what it is. Geno Smith the only update is it's structurally okay.
All right, as long as it's structurally okay, I think
he has a chance to play next week. So,
well, hopefully he does, because it will give us a significant rise in a chance to win the game.
I hope so. Oh boy. Well, it's going to be an interesting week. We have no clue what's going to happen here, and the Seahawks, like you said, probably just have to win out if we want a chance.
Yeah, and still first year under Mike McDonald. Even if we end up the season 9-8 or even 10-7 and barely miss the playoffs, I'm not saying I'm going to celebrate like it was a amazing season, but it's definitely not a bad season. Like we need to put that into perspective as well.
Yeah, let's mention that for a second. I think there is, and this includes myself. I'm not even trying to like blame any fans. Like I do this sometimes too, but there is sometimes too much. Like too much varying of like what's a good or bad season based on a win or a loss, right? Like, oh, yesterday sucked. Oh, this is embarrassing. Oh, Mike McDonald got out coached or whatever. At the end of the day, we are talking about a first year head coach. I mean, like they let go of Pete Carroll. I'm putting it in quotes because I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if he was ready or not. Like essentially they fired Pete Carroll. And they were ready to move on to a new coach, which means they thought this team is not very good, right? They're not performing well. There needs to be changes in the organization. And if a first-year head coach who's in his 30s comes in and makes the team a fringe playoff contender in his first season, that's a good sign. I mean, regardless of some bad losses, the Buffalo loss was embarrassing. The Packers loss was really bad. Maybe there were some times we got out coached here and there in the season. The Rams loss was disappointing. We still are a team that is sitting right now tied essentially for first in the division at 8-6 and have a chance to end the season with 10 or 11 wins.
Right.
If from week one, like we've talked about, if week one you told us we're going to be a 10 or 11 win team, I would have been like, that's an awesome first year.
Yeah, and I think like to sum up what you're saying there, I feel like during the week it's good to have that perspective and know that. And then when the game starts, of course, you become a fan. You want to win every single game. Like if you have those 3, 4, 5 hours before and after the game and during the game where you're a fan and your expectations are a little higher and you get a little more emotional, that's totally fine too.
Yeah. There's the in between. You can be upset about how things went this week and be emotional about it and feel some type of way. But the bigger picture is not a bad season.
Not a bad season at all. Now, hopefully, if we go 0-3 to finish off the season and we go 8-9, then we can have a different discussion. But if we finish 9-8, 10-7, 11-6, dang, good season.
Yeah, like not the worst for a first-year head coach. So better than Pete Carroll, who won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
a few years later.
Absolutely.
So appreciate the process, while also recognizing some of the flaws. It's fine, and those flaws can get fixed. I mean, to me, this defense has found some solutions throughout the year to get a lot better than it was to start the season. And
100%.
That's a good thing. So hopefully it continues and maybe a good offseason. And the draft has been good the last couple of years. So let's not sleep on that. Like John Schneider had a bad stretch, but the last couple of drafts have been pretty decent. We've got some good players. And if that happens for another year or two, all of a sudden you're talking about a team that might be a Super Bowl contender. If the first year head coach got him to 10 wins and the team gets better, I mean, who knows what that can mean.
Yeah, and speaking of a draft, that we did not mention him, I think once during this pod was Jackson Smith-Njigba, first round pick last year. He has developed into a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL and maybe the best slot receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, he was for the third straight week our highest graded PFF player. Again, the third straight week.
Wow.
On offense. I don't think I don't know about the offense versus defense. Boye Mafe was number 1 on defense with a little bit of a higher grade, but he was the highest graded offensive player for 3 straight weeks. He looks like, as you said, a top 10 receiver in this NFL, and it may be different. It's a weird comparison because he's different than any of the other like Jamar Chases and Justin
Jeffersons, and he's or CD Lamb. Like it's a different type of receiver. But I think for the type of receiver he is, which is a slot possession receiver, he might be the best one in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, and in general, I like the best slot receiver in the NFL. I think it's like pretty clear now that he's, or at least becoming that. And in terms of if we want to talk about, like overall receivers, he's definitely etching himself into the top 10 to 15.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I probably have him. I haven't done it, but I would say he's a top 10 receiver in the NFL. And then his numbers, I mean, his receiving yards, he's what, 6th or 7th in the NFL in receiving yards?
Yes. And like, I think
I said that's with a slower start.
Yeah, that was with, well, he had second game of the year, he went off with 117. But I mean, I'll read you these numbers. Like from week 1, 19 yards, 117, but then 39, 51, 31, 53, 9 yards against the Falcons. And then since that Falcons game where he had 9 yards, he went 69, 180, 110, 77, 74, 82, 83. So like that first half of the season, he was probably on pace for like 700 yards, and he's going to have well over 1,000. He's at 994. He's going to maybe end up with like 1,300 this year.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, more than even the yardage, the receptions is what's so valuable. I mean, he moves the chains, 5 yards reception for first down, 7-yard reception for first down, 4-yard. Like he's a chain mover.
Yeah, they were talking about it, how he finds the gap like much better than any receiver I've seen in a long time. The way he can like break out the play and find a gap for the quarterback has been just pretty amazing to see. I mean, it's been fun.
It's been really fun to watch.
Yeah. Hopefully we keep adding in the draft, keep getting better. And good news, despite a really negative day and talking about a lot of negatives, is, win out and let's see what happens. We can win 10, 11 games and be in a good spot for all we know. So let's keep the energy high and stay excited, because you never know what happens. It could be just a bad game while we had a decent stretch, and you go win 3 straight, and who knows?
Yeah, hopefully we do.
And hopefully the Rams lose one of those games.
Yeah, really. Well, hopefully 2 of them, one against us and one against someone else.
No, we have the same record. So if we win out, wouldn't matter.
Actually. I know, but I'm just saying it'd make it easier for us. I don't have to do any math in my head at that point.
Well, we wouldn't have to, right?
Why not?
We're both 8-6. So think about it, if we would both win the next 2 games, we'd both be 10-6. So if we beat them,
good point. Would be a game above
11.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So we can, as long as we keep pace with them. If they lose next week and we lose, then whatever. But like, let's just keep pace with the Rams, I guess.
Keep pace with the Rams.
Yeah. I was trying to think about that. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, we're not game behind the Rams. We're just a theoretical game behind them because of the
head-to-head.
Head-to-head, yeah.
So keep pace with the Rams. Keep on winning. And we'll be back, George, in a day or 2.
Yes, sir.
Much love. You got anything else? No.
Go follow our betting channel if you like sports betting. Sam, you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, we got a new channel. Well, same channel as this on YouTube, but no, not that. No, it's not. There's sorry, youtube.com/ it's weird how they do that now, but /@ bets on tap SEA. It's also on Twitter and Instagram, bets on tap SEA, for all our Seattle sports bets. So you can check it out. It's all Seattle sports betting type of stuff. And it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Go check it out.
And in the meantime, we can also show them one of the sports books that sponsors us and we represent on that channel a lot is Rebet. It's available in Washington State from your couch. You can actually bet spreads, player props, everything. George, tell them about that a little bit.
Yeah, the Rebet app is the first available and legal sports book in Washington State. Yes, it's 100% legal. I've seen a lot of people ask us about that. And it is legal because they consider it a sweepstakes model because you buy Rebet coins, and then when you win, you can convert them to real cash. They have spreads, player props, futures, and more. Download the Rebet app and use promo code ONTAP SEA. That's the first time we can say that now on this channel. So you don't have to use a promo code. You can use promo code ONTAP as well, but so we know you came from Seattle, do promo code ONTAP SEA.
Or use the link in our description.
Or that, yeah.
Yeah, and use go to you can type in the state you're in, and it'll show you what sports books are legal through our links and the deposit matches that they give you. So check it out. Give us some love and support. $10 minimum deposit, so we can get some credit and we can keep coming to you guys every single day and enjoying this process.
Absolutely.
Much love. We'll be back next time. And George, you know what we like to say.
Thanks for stopping by.
You're listening to the Sports on Tap Seattle podcast. I'm Sammy, and with me, as always, is my older brother, George.
Your favorite place to be a fan of Seattle sports. Now let's get this party